Go ahead and bring on David. All right, sir. How you doing?
Oh, I'm doing good. You can hear me?
I can hear you. I can hear you well.
Oh, okay. So I'm a little bit nervous because this is my first time on YouTube. So it's not really about YouTube, but my preacher, right? He asked me to preach, right? This May, the first like Sabbath of May, Saturday.
Hmm.
But I have a like so I felt like really compelled because one of my friends preached. He was talking about like Timothy or Paul, how it said like you're never too young to like preach, right? So I was like, okay, I feel compelled. And then he sensed it in me. I was like, okay, let's do this. I'm gonna invite all my friends from church. I meant from school, teachers, and then I kind of felt like really nervous about it because I never preached before, but I when I talk and like when I get adjusted, I'm really passionate. But I wanted to talk about like suffering from like how Paul like suffering like Timothy. You get what I'm saying, right? Like suffering. When you were talking about like how Paul suffered, and then he told Timothy, be strong. And I was gonna use like a sermon from Pastor Philip Mitchell Anthony, one of his videos. He was talking about suffering. I was like, okay, I feel really compelled, but I was wondering how I could like structure it, or if you
Okay.
think I'm ready because
Do this.
I have the ideas.
Do this. Do this, David. You're not.
Mhm.
You're not Paul. You are
Yeah,
not Philip Anthony Mitchell. You're not anybody but yourself. And how old are you?
18.
18. Okay. So you're 18-year-old David.
Yeah.
So all you can do is what David can do. Be David. You are
Yeah.
not more than like you are not going to set the internet on fire with some awesome, super, the best ever preaching, the best ever sermon ever heard. But
Hmm.
that's not your goal. Okay?
Yeah.
Your goal isn't to be the greatest ever. Your goal
Yeah.
is to give a message delivered by the greatest ever, that is the Lord. So
Yeah.
you want to do something over suffering. Now, are you doing this because you heard
Yeah.
someone else? Are you doing this because you heard someone else preach this or and you liked it?
No, because I had the idea before. I wanted to really talk about like why people like what was the purpose and the reasons behind suffering. And and then my mom told me that if I wanted to like find something to preach about, I would have to look at how other people preach and like kind of copy not copy their style, but like see what verses they use. So I wanted to refer it around like Timothy because it's a really good one for like new preachers basically essentially. And I was asking some people around the church, and they gave me like some ideas I can use if I can share my screen.
So, okay, let me ask you
So
a
if
question.
you could see 'em.
Let me ask you a question. What sort of suffering are you talking about? Talking to the people about?
Oh, perfect. Um, let me see. Let me see. So I have the title. It says, "Why do we suffer, and what is the purpose of our suffering?" Basically, does that answer your question?
No, I'm sorry. I had to say something. Somebody just came in.
Oh, wait. Did you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Oh, wait. Did you hear what I said before?
Now I did, and I thought I did, but here's the question. Here's the question.
Hmm.
And you don't have to share what you're going to preach. I guess my question is, what is it that you're trying to get about? What is it that you want them to learn to take away once you're finished preaching? What is it that you want them to learn to know?
Okay. So essentially, most of my friends are not really Christian and stuff. So, and it kind of since I'm young, but it kind of felt like God wants me to preach, but He says that like how do I describe it? But like God tells us Christians to preach, right? To like the Gentiles and stuff. I'm like, okay, I'll preach, but I'll preach when I'm like 30s because I'm not trying to die young. I'm not trying to see heaven early right now. So I was like, and then once my pastor he gave me like he told me I could preach. I was thinking like I could use the platform in order to invite my friends, like in order to tell them about God. But I didn't want it to be like do not do this or do not do that. I wanted to like give like a good message. So I thought suffering was a good one because everyone suffers. It's like a universal thing. So I was talking about so I wanted to say like it's better to suffer for Christ than just like suffer for like foolishness,
And
basically.
what examples would you use?
Oh, perfect. What examples? I was gonna use like Paul and the thorn, where he told God to like remove the thorn, but God was like, it's better for you to wait in order to like for like my purpose and my will. Let me just try to find it. It's like Second Corinthians 17. I was just reading it. Am I right?
You said Second Corinthians 17.
Yeah.
Okay. So, but I guess what I'm saying is, so and you're gonna use Paul as your example, would you
Yeah,
be able to use
it
yourself as
was like,
would you be able to use yourself
mhm.
as an example?
Yeah, I could do that too because I wanted to say like, why like oftentimes as Christians we think that since we're Christians we're able to like everything's gonna be cotton candy and sweet. Like I'm gonna pray for this lady and it's just gonna be healed, but it doesn't really work that way because I was gonna mention how one of my mom's friends, she was like a person who preached at her, not like she took care of the kids, she taught them Bible study and stuff, but she got cancer and then we prayed for her, but she never got healed. So I was gonna use one like her as an example because I was very close to her.
Let me say this.
Another thing I was gonna, yeah.
Let me say this. Now it can be dangerous. Um, who are you preaching to, by the way?
Um, so like
Are you preaching to the
my,
whole church or to a certain group, or who are you preaching to?
not the whole church. Like it's like we have a youth since the Haitian church we have a youth church and then we have like the big church. So I'm gonna be preaching in the youth church. So I wanted to invite like some of my friends, maybe some teachers that I know,
Okay, okay. So
because I kind of felt compelled to.
let me ask you a
Yeah.
question. Another question. Do you feel like you are um, well versed in the Bible?
I think I'm well versed in Timothy a lot because I know a lot about it. Um, I
Which
know
part about the
Timothy is
Bible?
pretty good.
Which part about the Bible makes you the most excited? What do you what do you which portion of the Bible do you love the most? What's your favorite?
Proverbs. I think Proverbs is good. But like
So if
story wise,
I ask you, now you don't have to, but if I ask you, give me your favorite verse and tell me what it means right now, bam, you could do it. You don't have to, but I'm saying you could do that.
okay, my mom always makes me read Bibles every night. Like she makes us do Psalms and stuff. So I'm like, uh,
Mm-hmm.
Psalms 24. No, Psalms 23. The words of my shepherd I shall not want. He makes me lie down. Okay, that's basically one that we always read. Psalm 100, but Psalm 24 is a good one because like I'm always nervous, like when I'm about to do something big, but like I don't know. I have 2 weeks to prepare for it, so I was like,
You have
and I've
how much
seen you
time to
go
prepare
live, so I was
for
like,
it?
oh,
How much time?
less than 2 weeks,
Less than two
less than
weeks.
2 weeks.
Okay.
I was gonna do it. Yeah, I was like writing some ideas. Yes, today I was gonna do it yesterday, but like I kind of got lazy, and I was like, man,
So,
I don't know. I'm kind of fearful right now
but you know
for
what?
the future.
I'm smiling because I just love your excitement. Um, that's good now, and it's good you're not preaching to the church, but you're talking to your peers, which is cool. And you want to talk
Mhm.
about suffering, and you are excited about the Lord. Well, since you know you're only 18, and you got
Mhm.
other kids around your age, maybe a couple that might be a little older, most of them might be a little bit younger. You all are going to go
Yeah.
through some of the same things. You're going to have problems. You're going to have times where you want to do your own thing, and you're going to have to talk about what suffering looks like. Suffering can be it can be something mild where other friends don't like you anymore because you're standing for Christ.
Mhm.
Suffering, you might lose out on a position because you don't want to compromise your values. Or what happens if you actually get physically hurt? What happens if you're
Yeah.
suffering economically? You know, you don't have as much money as you want or as the next person. What do you do?
Yeah.
How do you get past that suffering? You brought up Paul. That was a good example of Paul suffering and
Mhm.
how what did Paul do? What did God say? He says, "My grace is sufficient." And Paul doesn't um, shriek back because of the thorn in the flesh, whatever the issue is, but because the
Yeah.
Lord gave him a glimpse of heaven. Well, you haven't been given a glimpse of heaven, and I haven't, but we've got the writings in the Bible that tell us what the end is going to look like. And so
Yeah.
if we can just hold on to that. And so you might want to find a story. This is what I always thought it was helpful, especially when I do it a lot of times anyway now. If you can find
Yeah.
a short story that kind of conveys someone who suffered but did not stop persevering, even though they were suffering. And then the
Yeah.
result, the end, was very rewarding. If you can find a story like that, if you can point it to Paul, because Paul talks about in Second Timothy, let me read this passage, 2 Timothy 4, and read how Paul says that after he's done all these things, he's fought the good fight. Paul says that there's
Yeah. I
now
read that one.
a crown of righteousness laid up for him. And
Yeah.
so Paul is happy no matter what he's gone through. Paul did suffer. Paul, you know,
Oh yeah. When Oh, when I see Paul suffering, I was like, I'm not trying to end up like him. I'm like, why are you telling me to preach? I'm like, Lord, I'm not ready to go to heaven yet, Lord. I just turned 18. Give me some time,
But
please.
it doesn't mean that you
I'm
necessarily
like,
that you're going to suffer. We don't all
what?
suffer like Paul, and thankfully, because if we all
Oh,
did, most of us would probably stop
oh.
preaching. But
I immediately thought of that
yeah,
because I was like,
Paul
man,
was
if I
Paul was
preach to these people,
stoned.
I'm gonna get stoned. I'm gonna
Yeah,
get
man.
stoned, bro.
Listen,
They
you
gonna
are,
tag me.
but at least you already know what could happen. It probably
Yeah,
won't happen, but you love the Lord even still. And so bring up those things. This remember, Paul is writing stories about having joy while being in prison, after suffering, after being whipped, after being thrown into the
when I
ocean.
read that, I just was like, Paul, he's not real, bro. I don't know how can anyone go through. I'm like, what kind
He
of
said he's
faith
not real.
does a man have? What kind of faith does a man have to be just like suffering all that? And I was gonna reference like sometimes like the downsides of suffering, like hardship, because
Mhm.
like God will take away stuff from us. God will take stuff from us, and oftentimes we won't get the things that we want back. Like
Mhm.
we can see like Daniel, he wanted to return to Jerusalem. God never gave him that opportunity. We can see like real life examples of people in like North Korea who have worse opportunities, but they still preach God. And I'm like, I don't know how you guys can preach God like left and right, and you guys just get killed by just saying, "Oh, Jesus is good." I'm like, dang. And then I was listening to Pastor Mitchell. He was talking about Nero and how like he was persecuting Christians left and right. They were getting stoned, killed, sent to lions. Den. I'm like, I'm like, oh man, I don't know if I want to preach Lord today. I don't know. Maybe when I'm like 33, when I have more wisdom, I experience life a little bit more. Got some coffee,
Well, I think,
chill.
listen, David, I think you're doing good. Let me give you a couple scriptures for you that you can also
Yeah,
remember. This is what Jesus says. Matthew 5:10. He says, "Blessed are those who have been persecuted for the sake of righteousness, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven." He also says in Matthew, where we at? Let me read the passage I was looking for. He who has found his, I'm sorry, I don't want to use that. He wishes to save his life. That's not what I'm looking for. Doggone it. Um, Let me find the right passage. I thought I had the right passage for it, but I didn't. It was another one. But in other words, blessed are you
oh,
who
uh,
persecute you for, and he says, who are persecuted for my sake. And so, uh, read what Jesus says about suffering insults for his sake. And I
yeah.
think you're good. I think, young brother, you are way ahead of the game. I think that all of these old folks that are in the chat, they see you, they would love to have been in the position that
What?
you were in, that you're in if they were 18. Because some of these
My
folks,
friends
when they
will
were
call me
18,
old head.
ain't no telling what they were doing. I know what I was doing.
Yeah.
TT, when she was 18, yeah, Dinah, no, no, no. Sheila, when Sheila was 18, let's see who was president when Sheila was 18. Garfield, Grover Cleveland. You don't know who those people
Oh,
are.
I don't
Yeah.
even know these things.
So
Yeah, I mean,
you are, brother, you are putting us to shame. And so you're doing well.
what? No,
You're doing well.
I'm envious of you guys. I'm envious of you guys' age. I'm like, dang, y'all are able to preach in the good time now, I guess. But I was gonna show you Philippians 1 verse 6, which says, being confident of this very thing, that he who has begun a good work in you will complete it until the day of Jesus Christ. I was
Hmm.
like, I read that, I was like, that's a good verse of suffering.
Yeah.
Um
Knowing
yeah,
what?
it was
Why
just
is that a
it
good
was pretty
verse?
good.
Why?
Because it has like multiple meanings because like you have fought the good fight and like that was the next verse which is in Timothy, but
Hold on.
it
Let's
tells us
say
that
Philippians
you
1. Let's say Philippians 1. Being confident of
yeah
this very thing, that he who began a good work in you will complete it. So why is
mhm.
that a good thing?
uh well, because like once you keep the work of Jesus Christ,
Just look at the
he'll be
text.
happy.
Look at the
Wait,
text. What does it
yeah,
say?
wait, hold on.
Why is Paul confident?
Because he I don't know how to describe it, but I know what it means. Being
Why?
confident of this
Okay,
very
so
thing.
why is Paul confident? Why is Paul excited? Why is Paul happy? Why does the Bible say that Paul is confident? Because what?
Because he knows he'll be rewarded. He'll know he'll be rewarded for
That's
all
what the
that
text
he's
says.
done.
The text says he's confident because he, the one that began a good work in you, he's confident because he is going to finish it, right?
Oh, the Holy Spirit, essentially,
Who
right?
began this work in you? The Lord, right?
Yeah.
And so the one that began the work in you is the Lord. Who's the one that's going to finish it then?
Oh, the Lord.
The Lord.
Okay. So you have to be confident, being confident in yourself because you know the Lord has your back, essentially.
There you
Yeah.
go. There you go.
Okay, okay. That's what's up.
So just
So
let the Bible speak for itself, and you're good, brother. You don't
yeah,
have to
but
get up there
okay,
and say anything. You don't have to be like anybody else. If you just be just like David and let the text say what it says with all your energy, you're gonna be fine. We'll be reading your books
wait,
and
wait. So,
watching you preach in 20 years.
hold on. How do I wait? That was my problem. I don't know how to structure it because I often overthink and I'm disorganized.
Okay,
So the way I was
this
talking to you, I talked to them.
this is something that my mentor gave me, and I use this from time to time. It's called hook, look, book, took. Okay,
Oh, hold on. Okay, I'll just
just
rewatch it.
rewind the
Hook, look,
video.
book, book.
Hook, look, book, took.
Yeah.
The hook is something that kind of catches them. It might be a little story. Okay, it
Hmm.
might be something that you saw on TV, something that's in the news that relates it, something that grabs their attention. A hook.
Oh yeah,
Then
I know exactly.
then the
I
book
know
is
exactly.
going to be the text that you're coming from.
Yeah,
So hook and book, you got your hook, the book, the Bible verse, the passages that you're coming from. The hook book,
yeah.
then you got the look and the took. The look is what does this mean? What is it saying? Let's look at the text and see what it's saying. How's it relevant? And then
Okay.
the
Could you give
took,
me some examples?
well, we just read Philippians 1:6. So
Hmm.
the question is, what is he saying? That's the look. Let's look at this
Yeah.
text. He's saying Paul is
Okay.
confident, excited, happy about the one that started is going to finish it. Well, who's the one that's going to finish it? It's
Yeah.
God. Now you already gave the takeaway for that text. You already gave
Hmm.
the took is the takeaway. What's the takeaway of that text? After we looked at it and looked at the words, what they mean, who's saying what, why he's saying what, why Paul's excited, you already gave the takeaway. The took is the takeaway. What do people take away from this?
Okay. Okay. Okay.
God's
Take
got
away.
my back.
Basically, got you.
God is
Got
the
you.
one that's going to fix it. God is the one. My suffering ain't it ain't just me. I'm suffering with. So find scriptures that speak about if I suffer in with Christ, I'll also be raised with Christ. Find those kind of
Yeah.
scriptures. God is not leading you out there by yourself. He's watching you, right? He's checking on you.
Yeah.
He's seeing you, and he ultimately is going to make sure that you get across the finish line. He's going to make sure that you finish it. So that's kind of example of the hook, book, look, and took. Now you got to find your own hook,
Yeah.
whatever your scriptures are, and it might be one. It might be you might have one main scripture, and you might have some other scriptures to go along with it to kind of back up your
Oh.
point.
Okay.
Then you're going to have your look. Let's look at these scriptures. So you got your main scriptures. You might introduce a few more scriptures to back up what you're saying, and then in the end,
Yeah.
your took or your takeaway. Now, here's the important thing: when you get up and give a message, how long should it be? David, do you
Like
like a long?
also,
Do you like a real long sermon? Tell the truth.
I usually keep. I never. Okay. I like long sermons because I have a good attention span. I have a good attention
Well,
span
let me
because
get.
like
Well, you're different.
yeah,
Most people don't like real long sermons.
yeah, yeah.
Give
But I'm gonna
them
keep it short
give
because
them a 15, 20, 30 minute sermon.
yeah,
Okay. Two things. Keep it concise. Don't say more than you need to, because guess what? You can't give them the whole Bible at one time. You can't tell it all, as they
yeah,
used to say. So
yeah.
if you feel like you left some things behind, that's fine. You'll be around the next time.
Okay.
Okay.
Let me see. How should I like read it to them or like say it with
Should you
my
what?
energy? Because like I don't know. Because like I was gonna like write down like the stuff I was gonna read to them, but
Write
should
it
I
down.
talk to them?
Write it down. Talk to them as though they already know the text, and then
Yeah.
explain it to them as though they don't know the text.
Okay.
So read the text and go over it as though they already know the text, but then explain it to them as though they don't know the text, so that you can be real quick so you can get your points.
Yeah. My hook was gonna be like a counter argument, like, oh, God allowed me to suffer. He did this. Like he allowed this to happen, and then I was like,
Bring up
why does
bring up
God
bring
do
up an
this?
example. Bring a story about somebody suffering, and then you got
Yeah.
to go over why. Why would God do this?
Bible or no Bible? Like the
You talking
Bible
about the
story or
story?
like just
Your
normal?
story, your
Yeah.
your
Like
your, your hook doesn't have to be in the Bible. It can be just a story. It could be something that just happened recently. You know what? It could be a movie. You can talk about something in the movie.
yeah.
This guy was suffering, and look what happened at the end. But why would he do that? So,
Yeah.
but don't. Here's the other thing though. Don't sweat it. Don't get
Oh,
too
I've been
uptight.
I've been sweating it for like a month now. When you told me I had
Don't
like a month to preach, oh, I was cooked. I was like, man, I have not done nothing. I have 2 weeks left. What?
just run. Just run. Just run now. I would rehearse it. There's nothing wrong with you rehearsing
Yeah.
it. So go somewhere in a room, a bathroom, whatever. Get your phone, put your timer on, and then start timing it and say, I want to be through in 20 minutes.
Okay.
Give a
Just
20-minute
I think this.
timetable, 20 time limit, and then just preach and then record it and see how it sounds.
Okay, I think the scariest part is not really just talking. It's just like who I'm talking to. Because, like, when he told me I have to preach, I felt compelled. I was like, okay, I'm gonna get everybody on my contacts, and then just like tell them, oh, come to my church. And I was like, yeah. And I'm like, but I know too many people, and I'm like, I don't know, man. They want to hear this guy talking about God.
Invite
I'm
them
like, ah.
all. Invite them all. And then
That's what
ask
I was
them,
worried about.
listen, and listen, here's what you can do. Ask them
Yeah,
at the end for feedback. Just
yeah,
relax and ask them for feedback. Now, if what I do here versus if I actually preach, especially in my own comfortable setting, it's just
mhm,
me, and you're gonna get it how I want to give it to you. I'm calm, I'm relaxed. I don't have to worry about questions being asked in the middle of the sermon. I make my point, and my personality comes out.
yeah.
And now it's
Makes
your
sense.
first time, so feel free to ask people for what they thought. Take constructive
Yeah,
criticism so that you'll get better at the end. You're not trying. All you're trying to do is the goal for you now is just to get through, just to make it through.
yeah.
You're good.
Essentially,
You
yep.
you.
Because what?
Hey man,
Yeah, basically.
where do you live?
Florida.
Florida. Do
Sunrise.
all right. Do me a favor. Do me a favor. Write this email down.
Uh, how do I write it down? But you're
Matter of
gonna
fact,
send it
don't
to
don't
me.
don't worry about it. I'll put it on the screen. Just email here. Email to this question right. I'll get your question from me. Go to questions@smartchristians.org. Okay.
Okay.
So I want you to email me. Go ahead and
Gotcha.
send me your email and say this is David and I want some more tips on preparing this lesson. Okay.
Okay.
And I'll shoot you some stuff. Okay.
All right. Have a good
All
day.
right. Listen. Let me just tell you this before I let you go. I am proud of you. All of these people in
You
the
are?
chat, they are proud of you. They are you are awesome. Okay.
Oh, thank you.
You're awesome, and so I'm gonna cut this part of this video up. I'm gonna make it its own video, and other folks are gonna see this,
Oh,
and they're gonna think
oh,
you're awesome.
oh
Okay?
no.
No,
Oh,
listen,
okay, okay,
you
okay.
have no idea how well you're doing. You have no idea how
I'm
well
doing
you're doing.
well.
Huh?
I'm doing well.
You're doing well.
I'm doing well.
You're doing well.
Okay.
Amen.
Thank you.
All right, young brother.
Yeah.
You take care. Send me that email, and then we'll talk later. That was cool. Was that not cool? Was that not cool, man? Listen. If I was 18 doing that,